you to join us for the Animation Academy. Please welcome your sketch artist, Lon Smart.
Hope everyone's enjoying EPCOT's Festival of the Arts today, getting inspired. How many artists do we have in the audience today? Right on. Come on, hands up, be proud, be proud. We love the arts. Great. So my name's Lon. I've been with Disney about 30 years. And I worked over at feature animation originally, working at movies like Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback. I worked on Mulan, Emperor's New Groove, Tarzan, Brother Bear, Princess and the Frog. And anybody see any of these films? Yay! Good. Thanks for your support. And now I work for Walt Disney Imagineering as a character artist and concept artist, drawing all the things like the 50 golden statues that you might see around the parks. I worked on all those. I helped to work on the nighttime parade for the Magic Kingdom. Things that keep me out of prison. So with that, I would like to show you how we draw a character that I worked on for the film Lilo and Stitch. Her name is Lilo. And I'm not going to show you specifically how to draw Lilo, but how we draw in general. So you can take what I'm teaching you now and just kind of take it back and learn, you know, how to draw anything you want to draw. So it's just kind of a process. So pencils up. I'm going to do this. And then after it's done, we're going to answer some questions if you have any questions about art and all that fun stuff. Hi everyone who's just coming in now. Welcome, welcome. We're going to draw Lilo. Alright, so if you see magic, off to the left I have my references. Now this is very important. We have model sheets. Our animation library has tons of model sheets of the characters. You might not have access to that, so we have access to the internet. You have access to the actual movie. So what you can do is actually just reference and look and learn. That's how you learn to draw. Looking and learning. That's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to draw something first, then watch what I do, and then you draw it. But I want you to look over here more than what I'm doing, because that's my reference right here. So right away, we're not going to draw the full character of Lilo. We're just going to go for there's just the upper body, just a portrait. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to draw Stitch next. At the 1:30, we're going to draw Stitch. So you can draw them together. You can draw Lilo over here, and you can draw Stitch over here, or you can get 2 pieces of paper if you just want to draw Lilo today and get the heck out of here. You're welcome to. Go enjoy some of that food. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm looking real quick to see exactly what kind of shape head she has. She actually has a very square type of design for her head. Look at that. It's a circle, but it's like an inflated square. So what we're going to do is, basically I'm going to draw a square shape right around here, and see how big I'm drawing it to. It's somewhere between a circle and a square. Smirkle? Is that a thing? Is that a word? Alright, that works. Right around that size. See how much space we're leaving at the top and the bottom? Because we're going to just draw maybe the upper part of her shirt as well, and then make a nice little portrait for her. She's going to also be facing this direction too. So also draw really lightly, because when we clean it up, that's when we're going to add our darker lines. And that's when this underdrawing is just going to kind of fade away. You don't even need an eraser. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to find where the front of her direction will look. So she's going to look over to our right, her left, our right. So I'm going to draw a vertical line just to kind of indicate where the front of her head is going to be. And then I'm also going to look to see where her eyes are. Now her eyes are actually located right around the top, the middle of her head. If you go from the chin to the top of the head, her eyes are actually around the middle. So I'm right around here at the middle. I'm going to draw her horizontal line. Think of this as a 3D shape. And actually that's a good formula for drawing a head in general. From the top of the head to the chin, eyes are in the middle. From the eyes to the chin, the nose is in the middle. From the nose to the chin, the mouth is in the middle. So a little formula there if you're ever trying to draw a head and you want it to stay in proportion. Actually, it's mostly true. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in her nose. Now the nose is going to be underneath our center line here, but I'm just going to draw a circle. We're just going to do shapes for now. Real easy shapes, no details. We're going to build it up like we're sculpting. She's got a very round nose, almost like a clown. She was funny, so. And then her eyes. Now her eyes are kind of almond shaped, and they're separated pretty far. Typically, on a human head, the eyes are actually one eye distance apart, and even from the side of the head, there's another eye distance, so theoretically it'd be 5 eyes going all the way across your head. But we're going to do this, we're just going to draw a simple rounded shape here, and one way over here. But what we're going to do now, if you notice, we study, as things go around shapes, they get smaller and flatter, like a planet, like a continent. So basically over here, we're just going to draw a rounded shape that's really thin. And when things go further away, they get smaller, like this hand here seems much larger than this hand. Well, that's just perspective. Even in small amounts, it helps. If these were both the same sized eye, it would look a little weird. It'd be that uncanny valley strangeness. So we're going to make that far eye just a tiny bit smaller. Big smile on her. She loves to smile. So we're going to draw a curved shape. Look how far away it is. It actually hugs her nose more than the bottom of her chin. So we're going to draw a curved line. Not so loose because we might change it. Yeah, actually, we will change it. It will move around. It'll finesse. It'll change. Right now, we're just starting the rough sketch. Just looking to try to find her. Where is she at? Her neck is about just under half the width of her head size. So what we're going to do is right around here, I'm just going to drop in a couple of lines to indicate the front and the back of her neck, right around that length. And her shoulders, if you notice, typically they're relaxed, they drop down a bit. So what we can do is just draw a curved line right here, just to indicate where her shoulders would be. And we're not going to take it much further than that, other than perhaps a collar. So we can do another curved line right here. Now remember, the front of her body is going to be right here, so the collar is going to be a little more weighted towards the right-hand side, which is still the front of her chest. Her ears, where do the ears go? Well, on a human, the ears will land between the eyes and the nose. Right in there, that's where our ears land. So that's where we're going to put them as well. Since her head is turned just a bit, and they stay on the side of her head, you see all of her ear, because from this angle, she tucks her hair behind her ear. Anyone know I think the only Disney princess where you do not see her ears because of the design? Cinderella, right on, you get a cookie. That's right, because the hair is covered right over the entire ear. You never see her ears. Weird trivia. All right, her hair. She has a little bang that kind of hangs out in the middle. So once again, we're just going to do a real light sketch of a triangle that just hangs right here. We're going to finesse and change that around later. And her hair also curves back behind her ear. So we're going to do another curved line. Now again, this is easy enough at this point to change things around, even if you see things like, well, it doesn't look exactly right just yet. That's fine. And her hair is very straight, so what we're going to do is it's going to go just in back of her ear, and we're just going to do a straight line that hangs down, and it's just going to fall into space, because it's actually going to be further than what we're going to draw. Now the other side of her hair also turns around, kind of like Ariel. So what we're going to do, this is going to be a bit of a trickier shape. Watch what I do. That line on the top of her hair is going to come out past her forehead and then tuck in behind the bottom part of her eye. So right down here is where we're going to do that. Now there's already things in this sketch that I already want to change as I move forward, and I'll show you how to do all of that. All right, so her head shape is very unique. We modeled the director, Chris Sanders, for this film. He has a very unique way to draw, so we kind of captured the way he captures people. So if you notice, really subtle, right here on the side of her head by her eye is where the eye socket would be, just like I have. We all have this little eye socket going from the eyebrow down to the cheek. So right around here, we're going to curve in just a tad, just to make sure that we know that's where that eye socket's going to be. But overall, it's a pretty simple shape for her head. So we're going to go from, now watch what I do. We're going to go from her forehead, it comes out just a bit, really close to that eye. These shapes are going to get really tight. It's going to come out a little bit, but if you notice, the corner of her head is right down here. Especially when that shot right there. So right around here is where we're going to stop the direction of the line. It's going to change direction. Come around to turn into the bottom of her neck. I'm going to stop right here at the neck because we're going to study what's going on under the ear. You notice how the direction of her jawline really is at a diagonal. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the bottom of her ear and see how much space we have between the jaw and the eye, the jaw and the mouth, the jaw and the nose. We're going to try to keep all that perspective going. A lot of space. curved line. Keep it light, because we might want to change it later. I'm going to bring that neck back just a bit more too. We're starting to see her. She's starting to take shape. Her hair, since it is now turned, her head's turned, her hair is actually on the other side of her head. So kind of make a little invisible line if you want, and have that hair just now become visible underneath her chin, and drop behind her shoulder. Now, she has a unique way to smile in her design. Her upper lip doesn't move. Usually the upper lip doesn't move when you smile. Your bottom jaw does all the action when you're talking and smiling. So we can have her with a closed mouth smile, or this really charming design that she has for her smile. We're going to do that. We're going to open that mouth up. When you do smile, your corner of your mouth goes into your cheek. It pushes the cheek out. It becomes round. So we have this little bit of a divot, curved line. We're going to use that line. Line defines the shape, and that's going to go into the corner of her mouth. And then look at that, her mouth consistently pretty much goes in underneath her upper lip. That's just the way Chris loves to draw. It's really charming. So, and Stitch is going to be very similar on his drawing too. So we're going to drop it down inside her upper lip, come down, and look how wide it is when it comes down. Really wide. That's one of the characteristics of Lilo. Real light, real sketchy. Just go on magic like that. Okay. So now as I look at my reference, there's another line I'm going to draw inside the hair here that comes down really underneath where her lobe would be. That's just going to help show how thick but flowing her hair actually is. I'm just going to curve this direction. And if you're going to be drawing Stitch, we can have Lilo looking that direction, or we can have her looking at us if you're just going to stay for Lilo. So we're going to do, I'm just going to have her, if we're going to have her looking at Stitch for later, you can do it this way. Watch what I do. I'm just going to have her eye in this direction. And really tightly over here. But if you're going to have her looking at us, then that eye would go right here. See the reference? Just kind of mimic what's going on over here in this reference. But actually, I'm going to have her looking over at Stitch. So I want a matching set. All right, her almond eyes. The corner of her eye on the outside is much higher than the inside. It actually makes this really nice shape pointing down towards her nose. We've almost got like a V shape going right here. All these simple shapes is very satisfying to the eye. It makes the character very appealing. Not a lot of detail, but still quite a bit of design. So what we're going to do is we're going to start that eye way up out here in the corner. See how far away it is from her hair? Also, there's an eyebrow in there. We're going to get that in there soon. But we're going to do the eyelid coming down. A little bit smaller than what I sketched in. So I'm actually going to go a little bit more dark as I hit in these details. And on the bottom as well, the upper part of the eye is a lot more curved. Her upper eyelid is much more curved than the bottom part of her eyelid. It's a little more straight. So we're going to keep that in mind. All these little details really bring out that character. And again, this is just a study, looking and learning. You're not cheating. Oh, you looked at a picture. No, this is how you learn. The more you draw, the better you get. And the only way to get better is to look at things. If you're just drawing from your memory all the time, you're on a treadmill. You're just learning what you've already known, so you're not going anywhere. Eyebrows, really thin eyebrows, great, much thicker towards the middle than on the outside. So what we're going to do is right here, somewhere between the top of her eye and her hair, we're going to draw an eyebrow that's thin on the outside, thicker in the inside. And on the other side too, look how thin it is because it's wrapping around the head. So we're going to do a curve, keeping it thicker on the inside, and having it actually tangent out. Actually, no, it never really does touch the outside of her head. So again, for this sketch, this is just a sketch. It doesn't have to look perfect. Don't be sad if it doesn't look identical. You're learning. And also, to draw these characters perfectly, it takes over an hour. So we're knocking this out in like 20 minutes, so don't worry about it. If you'll be fine. All right, and her eye, since we're going to have her looking over to the right, or our right, her left, a nice flat circle just right around there. All right, getting closer. We're starting to see what she looks like now. I'm going to start revisiting where we started, which would be the nose. Gonna look at the design, a little bit of a wrinkle on the top of her nose, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a curved line here. Now this is where you can start moving your lines around. If you feel like your line went too far out or too far in, good opportunity now to adjust that. And all you gotta do is press harder. Now when we do our lines, what I do is a thick and thin line. It's very appealing. On the outside of the line, it is going to be a lot thinner, and on the inside of the line, it's going to be a lot thicker. It shows weight and balance, especially if you're doing no shadow. Things towards the bottom, like the bottom of her head, would actually have more weight because that would represent the shadow. And towards the top, a little less thinner lines. It helps really make that character feel three-dimensional. So we're going to have a little nostril, not a whole lot of nostril shape, just on the corner. If you notice here, well actually the side of her nose, and the nostril here, really tiny. Far apart from that is the other nostril. And then another line just similar to the nostril line, only now we're actually defining the side of her nose, just a little longer, is where we're going to draw and match that. So it's going to be a little bit longer of a curve, and it's going to tuck up just behind the nostril, because the nostril is in the nose. A lot of times you want to fight what line should go in front of what line. Well, whatever's in front gets that dominant line, gets that dominant shape. Now, let's go ahead and do her eye. Now, usually the thickest line that you're going to get as a line is going to be the eyelid. Not the eyebrow. The eyebrow could actually be a shape, but the line is usually the eyelid. And now, since I am going to make her a little bit smaller of an eye than what I started with the sketch, I'm going to go nice and dark, and it's going to be really dark towards the top, and then come down and match the inside here. Then I'm going to darken in. I like to color in my lines, which is kind of like this little brushing movement, but sometimes you can just go ahead and confidently just drag your pencil. Round eye, right like this. Look how big her eyes are. Big, beautiful eyes, very expressive, so I'm actually going to bring it out a little more. And the same thing for the other side, only remembering it's flat, squished, round, or curve that line towards the top. Remember keeping the tear duct area low towards the nose. Look over here even more. And then back up. And fitting in this really tiny shape, carefully draw in that circle, that oval now. Ooh, so precarious. All right, now since her eyebrows are really thin, you can actually do another one of those colored in lines. Someone's got a Star Trek phone. All right, now for her smile. Basically what we have there is, I'm pretty happy with where we're at with the rough shape, so I'm just going to go over that line. And you notice how her upper lip actually does a bit of a S curved. It's actually curves down underneath her nose, and it goes up going into her cheek. So we're going to do an S curve that goes down from her cheek, and then when it hits underneath her nose, that line's going to change direction slightly. And curve down. Just like that. Stitch is going to do something similar as well. Then her bottom lip, we're going to go over here underneath the front of her lip. It's going to go down and curve. It's going to change direction right around this area. I'm going to bring it down from the cheek. Big smile, big smile. Actually, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger even here. And her tongue. Tiny little heart, it's like the top of a heart. We're getting into Valentine's Day, how perfect. And we also do a little bit of a line just to indicate the back of her throat. I'm not wanting to worry about getting too anatomical, but it kind of helps show depth inside the mouth. We can shade some of that in. All right, so her facial features are pretty strong at this point. Let's go ahead and tighten up the forehead line. Remember, it comes out from under the hair. It'll curve in a little bit when it hits her eye as an eye socket. And that line is going to drop down all the way to the bottom of her cheek. Now we're going to do a thicker line as we hit this part here. I'm going to round that off just a bit more. And we are going to not connect the line because I don't want her head to feel detached from her neck. So we're going to stop this line right around here. I don't want it to feel like it's a head that's popped onto her neck, but actually part of her whole neck area. And then from the ear area, look at what we got here going on. Nice, nice, nice. Nice and round, big fat cheeks. And her ear, another nice curve. Got a little crescent moon going. And for the details inside her ear, typical Disney ear, we've got the inside of the ear shape and then going into the lobe. This is typically all of our ears right here, just that shape. It's like a curve and a curve. All right, hair, let's do some hair. We're gonna go up here towards the part in her hair, and it's gonna tuck up behind her ear. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Back to the head. Drop that hair down. One nice, long, thick and thin line. Just drops into infinity. We're going to do that indication line just to show a bit of the shape of her head. The front of the top of her head. Nice, easy shape. Going all the way out, way past her forehead. Curving around, making a quick right hand turn, and falling in underneath her eye. I don't make these sound effects when I draw at work. That would be really good. And then the back of her hair, since it is coming up from the back of her face. There, right there. The bangs in her hair, if you notice, we've got actually a couple of shapes going on. It's like a larger shape and a smaller shape. Well, the larger shape tends to reflect typically towards the top. It can go anywhere, but we're going to have that one big shape starting at the top, curving around, and it's going to connect right like this, and then we're going to have a smaller one just underneath that, and it's going to overlap. Remember, the dominant shape that's in front is going to get the dominant line, so which one of these two? And then, of course, we're going to go all the way back to the part in her hair. Nice curve. And again, if it's not looking perfect, don't worry, we're practicing. You can take this process and take it back and work on any character you want. We're going to finish off her neck. It's really a struggle sometimes not to bring her neck too far in because, of course, our necks are pretty, actually our face is really far ahead of where our necks are. So we're going to lean it more towards the back of her head than the front. Just like that and like that. If you ever wonder, traditionally, what part of the neck is thinner, it would be the top, and it goes wider towards the outside. And her shoulders, nice and round. Just round those off, a little relaxed. And of course, her shoulders, we can do an S curve, one line that indicates going over her shoulder, wrapping around, underneath. Let's also go ahead and study what we're going to do to connect this hair shape. If you notice, it's a little bit thicker when it comes out from the top of her forehead, and it gets thinner as it connects to her hair. So what we're going to do is this. Look what I do. It starts down here, and it'll curve up and get really close to the outside line, just there. It kind of creates a nice little flow. If you want to add in some details, you notice her on her pattern. We've got some nice nice leaves. We can sketch in some nice leaves. One thing I've noticed with portraits is it gets less detailed the further away you get away from the head, the face, so you can start getting a little bit sketchy here. And you can even indicate a little bit of her chest, right like that. Next thing to do, we're not going to color it, but we can shade in. Now we're going to grab my pencil, I'm going to hold it further back. I'm just going to scribble left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right, all the way down into her hair. It kind of brings the character. It starts to break her shapes out a little bit easier. It also makes it look like a drawing. It's like, oh, scribbles, scribbles, scribbles. And another thing we're going to color in is the inside of her eyes. The inside of her mouth, the back throat gets a little bit darker, a little bit lighter towards the inside of her mouth. And also, if you wanted to do highlights, a rule of thumb for highlights is a little circle that goes in the opposite direction of where the character's looking. You don't want to put the highlights in the same direction of the character's looking, because now it looks like another pupil. So if it's the opposite side, it clearly shows it's just a highlight. And the last thing you do is you got to sign it. Right down here. Now you can sell it for $1 million on eBay. If I can remember how to spell my own name. And that's how we draw a character like Lilo and Stitch or any characters. So, now for the parts. You gotta show me what you did. It is Academy. It's like a teacher and a student. I gotta see what you did. I gotta give you a grade. So take what you got, even if you're not done. Let's see where you're at. Work in progress. Hold it up high. Be proud of your arts. Okay. This is good. Whew, good. I was nervous. You're all doing great. Okay. Nice. Let me see it. Come on. Come on. Nice. Oh, you did the hair perfectly. Good stuff. Good stuff. Give yourself a round of applause. It's that part. A round of applause. Really good. Nice. Nice. Teeth. Vampires. Lilo. Have fun with it. That's fine. Oh, you put color into it. Here's extra credit for you. Nice, nice. Great. No, we have to. Okay, you've all drawn well. I can see. Nice. Thank you for that. Love it, love it. Really good job. You keep drawing, pal, okay? You're going to be a really big artist someday. Super duper. She's busy. Oh, she's... Nice. Hey, you're all great. Fantastic. So if you have any questions about art, how much time do we got? I didn't bring my watch. 4 minutes, fine. We get some questions. If you have any questions about art in general, yes. What did I do in Lilo and Stitch? I did mostly Captain Gantu. He was a giant shark, ram, elephant guy. We called him a sharamafin. Yeah, he was a lot of fun. Really wild to draw such a large character in front of tiny characters. But I also did a lot of Lilo and a lot of Stitch as well. Anyone else? Any art questions as far as like design, what we do? Yes? Some of the other characters I did, I worked on the hyenas for The Lion King. I worked on John Smith for Pocahontas, Mushu for Mulan. I worked on Louis the Alligator for Princess and the Frog. I worked on Kenai the Bear for Brother Bear. And on and on and on and on and on. So yeah, lots of fun characters. I'm really thankful. Anyone else? No? Yes, back there. Any character I did not like? No, I love them all. Honestly, they're all fun. They're really well designed. So much heart and thought goes into the background characters. There are characters that are easier to draw than others. I think the easiest character I've worked on was Pacha for Emperor's New Groove. He was just a head, hands, and a giant square poncho. So there's no detail here. There's nothing to draw. It's just a square. So I'm knocking out drawings fast. I'm like, hey, I learned how to draw out of nowhere. All right, give me one more. Come on. Any students, any art students looking for portfolio work? And when you're putting your portfolio together, if you want to become an artist, you have to show off your artwork. Only show your best work. Don't show everything you've ever done. Break it down to your top 10, maybe 12. Because the person looking at your portfolio has already decided if they want to hire you from your first image. So make that the best image you've ever done. And then everything after that just supports what they've already decided from that first image. So less is more. And finish your artwork, make sure you want to put your best foot forward. So anyways, also stay inspired. Like events like this will inspire you. I look at other people's artwork and it makes me want to draw. And when I draw, it makes other people happy. And that's what we do, is we make happiness. So go out there and make people happy, and thanks for coming in. Hope to see you at the next section.
Friends, thank you for joining us for this presentation of the Animation Academy. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at the EPCOT International Festival of the Arts.